Hey y'all, my name is Adina Barnett Miller, but I'm known to my students as Mrs. B. I've been passionate about West Virginia history for as long as I can remember, but my mom would tell you it all started when I was 3 years old and she bought me a West Virginia counties puzzle at Gino's Pizza. I've taught history in Ripley, West Virginia for over 20 years now, and I'm an adjunct professor who teaches college West Virginia history to high school students. Please join me for West Virginia History with Mrs. B, a field trip across the Mountain State to walk in the footsteps of those who came before us. Hey y'all, it's West Virginia History with Mrs. B. I'm here in the car with my better half who is drinking water. I caught him. Sorry, we're at a stoplight. So we are driving into Weston, which is the county seat of Lewis County. And so we're going to give you a little driving tour of Weston. We're right by where I-79 comes off and joins Route 33, US Route 33. And so you have the option of turning to go to Weston, or on the opposite way, you can go to Buchanan. So we are driving into Weston. As you can see, the sign there says 2 miles. But really, you know, what our Weston businesses are going to start popping up on the left and right here on Route 33 as we drive into town. So Weston is a town that's been through a lot of change. You know, at one time, the Weston State Hospital was the largest employer in Weston, employed hundreds of people because there were thousands of patients. There was also a lot of jobs in the glass industry here in Weston. Some of the best glass in the world was manufactured in Weston, but those factories are long shuttered. So Weston has done its best to adapt, and there's a smaller hospital here, mental hospital, meaning the Robert L. Sharp Hospital, which is out of town. But you know, when you lose such a big employer, and you lose lots of big employers, it's hard to find new employers to take their place. But Weston is, you know, capitalizing on tourism when it comes to Stonewall Jackson Lake and the resort there. And it is a town that in some ways I think is making a resurgence, especially when it comes to food. So here we are coming into Weston. You can see their car dealership, and there's the Wendy's. And there's the City of Weston sign. So a cool place to go visit is Appalachian Glass right here. They do demonstrations and they sell their wares there. It's a lot of fun if you stop in. We hear this place right here, Buns, is supposed to be really good. I want to try that out. It's kind of like a Shake Shack kind of place. There's another Weston welcomes you. Established 1818. As we drive into town. So that big complex ahead of us, right past the dealership, that is Robert L. Bland Middle School, which is the feeder to Lewis County High School. And at one time was the high school before they built the new high school.
Tricky intersection.
Yeah, it is a little tricky. So we're gonna just keep driving through town. I think are you gonna go left first?
Yeah, we'll go left.
Okay. you'll head out towards Jackson's Mill State 4-H Conference Center. And so, welcome home, alumni. I guess it is Lewis County homecoming weekend.
I guess so.
There's one of my favorite places, the Museum of American Glass in West Virginia.
Watch the video.
Yeah, it's a great one. Here's Citizens Bank. It is a fantastic building. We'll have to drive them over to see the hospital.
Right.
Once we drive through beautiful downtown Weston, as you can see. I love all the shops here. Oh, there's another great place to eat. The Time Bistro. If you're here for dinner, that is a great place to visit. So I think we want to turn on the turn. So we
Left.
don't go, yep, you go that left. If you keep going, following that straight arrow, that will take you to the Lewis County High School, which is just right out of town.
And I believe that also takes you to Stonewall Resort, right? Or at least gets you to the
Well, it gets you to the lake. It gets you to the lake, gets you to the interstate, so you can go to the resort, yeah. So we're looping back into downtown on US 19. And this is going to take you right past the library and the courthouse. So pretty. And here's the extension office for Lewis County. And look, there's the 4-H pledge. How? And there's the Lewis County Courthouse. That is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful building, as you can see. And there's the sign for Weston, established 1818.
And up here on our left.
Oh, one of our favorite places, South Texas Barbecue Company. We love it. Besides having Episcopal churches and Methodist churches, one thing that's interesting about Weston as compared to other West Virginia towns in this area is there's a large Catholic church, which is right in front of us. And they had a Catholic school here in Weston, St. Patrick's. And so this was because of the large immigrant population here in the town of Weston that was working in the glass industry.
It's very interesting, Anita, because West Virginia is a very, very Protestant state. If you go back to 1960, when Kennedy
There's St. Pat's.
ran in the primary, the big question was, can a Catholic win in Protestant West Virginia? Well, there's a certain point in this state that if you go like north of
Clarksburg North, as well as southern West Virginia,
you see these huge Catholic concentrations: Wheeling, Weirton, Morgantown, Fairmont, Clarksburg,
Bridgeport,
Weston.
Yeah. If you want to just keep going straight, we can turn eventually. But Weston is one of the smaller towns that had a big pocket, of Catholics. And so I just have always thought that was super cool. This is the Mountaineer Military Museum, which if it's open, you should definitely go because Barb is amazing.
Yes. Shout out to Barb.
We love Barb.
And check out the video.
Yes, we have a video, and we love Barb. Barb is a dear, sweet friend. So Dave's going to take us and show us ye old Robert L. Bland Middle School, where I did my student teaching 22, 23 years ago.
I thought it was 3. You're not old enough.
I know. Over half of my life ago, I student taught here. So there's part of the complex. Actually, it was that door right there. My classroom was like right there. Right there's where my classroom was, in case you're wondering. And what's cool is the school looks pretty much the same.
Because this was the old Weston High, correct?
Yes, this was the old Weston High School. So, and the building is kind of goofy. Like sometimes the things don't match up, like the hallways and stuff. So we are going to keep touring Weston. I love Weston. I've always loved Weston. And if you caught our Pringle tree video, one of the things I talk about is Dave and I, our ancestors for a couple generations lived in this part of West Virginia, and so I don't know what it is. I think my blood knew it, that this is where my ancestors were at one time, and I just have always felt very connected to this part of the state. So if we ever get this light to change, we're gonna...
It could probably turn on red. I just don't feel comfortable doing it.
Well, it's where that pole is. I get it. But we're gonna turn and take you to keep looking at the town of Weston. Yeah, that pole's awkward. I used to get hot dogs there first when I was student teaching because I was poor.
Mm-hmm.
And you could get 2 hot dogs for $1.09. In case you were wondering how old I am, a long time ago, over my half of my life ago. So Lewis County is in large part known because of its ties to Confederate General Thomas Jonathan Stonewall Jackson, and he grew up at Jackson's Mill with his Uncle Cummins, and it was wealthy residents of the citizens of Weston who were going to write the letter of recommendation that he needed to get into West Point Military Academy. And so one of my relatives, their relative, was one of the people to sign it. So, which is pretty cool. So we are turning onto 33, and we're getting ready to go across the bridge here, and we're going to show you the reason why so many people are coming to Weston. So I think Dave's going to turn right here on the left, and the reason why people are coming to Weston is this big monstrosity that I'm going to roll down the window so you can enjoy it. This is the largest hand-cut stone building in North America. The largest in the world is the Kremlin. This is number 2. And this is what people nowadays call the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. But when we were kids, this was just the Weston State Hospital. And this was built, they started it in 1859, before the state of West Virginia and the state of West Virginia broke up. And this was to house people with mental illness in Western Virginia. And so the hoot of it is, I've always heard this story about the citizens of Weston could choose whether they got a college or they got a hospital, and they opted for a hospital because they didn't want to deal with college students.
I heard the same story about Moundsville. It came down to, do you want the state university or do you want the state penitentiary?
Yeah, and so they opted for the state pen. So you can see here, they're all set up for Halloween. But
it's a big time of year for these folks.
Oh my gosh.
They do a lot of stuff.
They do. They do. Well, and they're making money to keep this place, you know, for tourists. But what's cool about the hospital, and we're driving up these roads, I mean, they raise their own food. They raise their own livestock. They have a cemetery on the property. Did I just hear a bunch of turkeys?
Yeah, over there.
Oh, look, there are turkeys.
Right there.
Oh, they got turkeys in their yard. Check that out, Dave. That is going to be one
Somebody's gonna have a really
good
nice
Thanksgiving dinner right there. Actually, there's more than one. Look at
There's
this.
a couple in there.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. 1, 2, 3. Well, there's only
Looks like a big chicken.
Big chicken. There are only 2 turkeys. All right, so we're going to give you another view of the hospital. So, when I student taught in Weston, this was back in the day before the hospital, well before the hospital became a major tourist stop. And I can remember, do you remember the state police got in trouble for like having paintball wars in here?
I do remember something about that.
Yeah, that was like my era of hanging out in Weston.
I'll tell you one thing.
They had such disrespect for the building that they were using it for paintball.
Back when I lived with my brother John in Morgantown, we came down through Weston one day to go to Spencer to see our grandparents. And we came through here on 33 because we thought, you know what, let's just get off the interstate at Weston, 33 into Spencer. And I don't recommend that. But the point I'm getting at is we drove by here one day and the siren was going off.
In the building?
In the building. And I kid you not, we heard it from the time we basically got into Weston proper until we got down to about the community of Pickle Street.
Oh, Lord.
So, John's famous line from that was, "That could wake the dead."
Yeah, pretty much. I love the fence. I love the fence. I think it's so cool. Yeah, the hospital closed in 1993. I mean, it was such, such a loss for this whole region. I mean, when I was in college, all the psychology professors at West Virginia Wesleyan had worked at the hospital. I mean, you think about all the people that like worked in the cafeteria and the housekeeping and the nurses and the doctors. All these people didn't have jobs anymore for the most part, except for the few that stayed, and got jobs at Sharp Hospital as you're going out of town. So, we're going to go a little bit further and we'll show you a little bit more of Weston. But this is a great place to hop. Just hop off the interstate, take a drive around town, stop and get food because, like...
You definitely cannot go wrong.
No. I mean, to me, South Texas barbecue, which we're getting ready to drive past, I think. Yes, right here. It is some of the best barbecue anywhere, and I love Time Bistro, and I hear Buns is really good too. So
I think that's what we're gonna do.
We're gonna go to Buns.
Video.
I'm ready to try Buns for sure. So I'm gonna go eat really good burgers with that guy right there. So I hope you enjoyed your tour of downtown Weston. And like I said, if you're on I-79, exit 99, you need to stop, come into town, get yourself some food, drive around. It's worth getting off the interstate just to see the hospital, and even go take a hospital tour. So anything you want to leave us with, Dave?
Shout out to Weston native Brian Allman.
Oh yes, our dear friend Brian Allman is technically from Jane Lou, but he went to school at Lewis County High School, and he was class valedictorian, Dave, if you did not know that. So
and Barb McVaney too, we can't forget her in the museum.
Yep, we love Weston. This is a great place. Definitely come to Weston. Glass Museum, Mountaineer Military Museum, Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, lots of good food, lots of great people. This is a place that should not be missed. I love Weston. So thanks for joining us. Thanks, y'all, for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to West Virginia History with Mrs. B on both Facebook and YouTube.